right, and we start off with the Star. Purge looms in Bunge as ODM demands slots. At least 10 committees in Bunge to be affected in political deal. And we said ODM will definitely come back to demand its pound of flesh. Former DP Rigathi Gachagua's ally Gathoni wa Mushomba is among those to be kicked out in far-reaching changes. You can read more about that on pages 4 and 5 of this daily paper. Education CS calls for stiff penalty. That is as far as cheating in exams is happening, even as the KSh exam continues. Yes. They also make mention, of course, of the resignation of the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, and what this will mean to Kenya. Yeah. The other big story given prominence on this front page is SHA, the SHA board, expected to shuffle top managers. So as Kenyans continue to lament about the slowed transition from NHIF, well, the whip has been cracked. The CEO was suspended. Now top managers to be reshuffled. That's the start this morning. The only other highlight, Ruto summons ministers and PSs to sign bottom-up performance targets. That will happen next Tuesday. So you can read more about that on The Star.
All right, moving on to the next newspaper, The Standard. Shockwave of Trump's re-election hits home, and this is after, of course, we had Ambassador Meg Whitman, who resigned yesterday. The envoy, who described her mission as an honor and privilege, has actually been facing growing criticism over her support for President Ruto at a time of mounting public unease over governance. And that's on page 4. You can catch that story. Right there at the top, MPs up in arms over the chaotic rollout of SHIF. We've seen the same that is on The Star, and the story continues on the Daily Nation as well, which we'll be looking at later on. We also have Kalonzo in talks with Gachagua. Trump's stunning choices. I like the use of the word stunning because we do know that he nominated a very popular man known as Elon Musk, which, by the way, made the stock market absolutely shake up a bit. And lastly, don't write us off yet, says Stars. That's in Matters Sports on page 40.
Yes, they're going to be playing tomorrow.
Yes.
The AFCON qualifiers. Yes, so it's going to be something to look out for.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the Daily Nation.
Why U.S. envoy resigned is the big news there. They have a full photo of U.S. ambassador now exiting, Meg Whitman. And they say diplomacy. You can read that on page 3. Conversations on most dailies focus on the diplomacy, health matters on the bottom there. Ignored red flags and SHIF mess. And what is alleged there, they say a day after the government suspended Elijah Washira as the CEO of Social Health Authority, multiple interviews have exposed the series of missteps that ultimately led to the messy rollout of the new system. And the conversations at the very top, KCSE exam scam, how detectives trailed and seized key suspects. I also mentioned cases against Devani and Maina Njenga among 1,000 dropped by DPP, asking if it is bundled. And something that you had also mentioned, what is going to be happening on Tuesday next week, fresh round of performance contracts for Ruto ministers and PSs. That is a nutshell of what is on the front page of Daily Nation. On the back page, talking about Treasury on the spot, over 2.3 billion cash shillings tax fraud. Okay.
Right. That's a Daily Nation. Matters Business, suspecting 1.5 billion shilling equity heist arrested from China. That's a big story there on the front page of the Business Daily. They say John Karima Wainaina is said to have escaped to China in July. Detectives use phone, social media chats to track him. So the man is linked to the 1.49 billion heist at Equity Bank. He was arrested on November 9th at the JKIA upon his arrival from China. So he had actually come back from China.
And they say that the police actually believe that he was a member of an organized group engaged in bank fraud, money laundering, and stealing via penetration of banking IT systems.
All right.
So, yeah, seems to be a cartel there.
Yeah. So, yes, so this is something similar to what we saw yesterday. With
absolutely.
These people just using their phone mobile numbers to defraud some lenders.
Do you know, I actually did the math yesterday about that particular story. So if you do the math, it's around 3,250 shilling per SIM card.
A SIM card. So that's why they had 123,000 phones.
But how is that possible? When you just newly register, 3,250 shillings.
That means they're not at least 10.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say, that it was not possible, because when you register a new SIM card, you don't get that as your minimum, 3,250. So which is why that kind of points to the fact that there could be more.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems as if fraud is really on most pages today.
Walisema economy may shrink, so watu wanatafuta njia ya kusurvive.
Hata hapo chini ya Business Daily, talking about KRA raids Chinese cigarette marketers and tax fraud probe.
Yeah, so matters fraud actually becoming more and more prominent locally. That's as far as the Business Daily is concerned. People Daily, why Shah boss was kicked out. So yes, you do realize the two main stories today is about Meg Whitman's resignation and the social health insurance fund.
Yes.
So why Shah boss was kicked out, it was there on the front page of one of the editions of the Star yesterday. So CEO Ashira is said to have paid 1.5 billion shillings to well-connected insurance companies, underline well-connected, instead of remitting directly to hospitals as ordered by the board. So kuna vile mambo haikuenda sawa sawa. Elijah Washira pale, picha yake iko pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa People Daily.
Ajira kumeharibika.
Kumeharibika wapi? Kunani?
Hatua ya kampuni kubwa za humu nchini kutangaza mpango wa kufuta mamia ya wafanyakazi imezidi kufichua hali duni ya kiuchumi inayokumba maelfu ya biashara kutokana na kupanda kwa ushuru na mauzi kushuka. Habari kamili. Tangazo.
Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. Wanasema kampuni kadhaa zinafunga na zinawafuta wafanyakazi sababu uchumi umezorota. So kumeharibika. Hakuna kazi.
Short and sweet. Kumeharibika.
And yet last week one of the dailies was telling us why the worst is behind us.
Yes, the worst is behind us. Yet kumeharibika.
That we should be having some money in our pockets, but
Gazeti la Taifa Leo. Sasa tuangazie karakacha pale mwisho tukianzia na gazeti la Daily Nation. So the Daily Nation has decided to go with a burning charcoal.
Yep.
Which is a staircase and the main platform that's holding this podium, where some MPs are hoping to go address the mountain on the other side. So these are MPs, Mount Kenya MPs, who have to walk on hot coal. Mambo ni moto kule. Ukienda kujaribu kuongea kuzungumzia wale watu wanakuambia
si waliambiwa wasiguze.
Usiguze. Sasa wakaguze.
Waliona.
Sasa kuna Bible verse inauliza, can a man walk on hot coal without being scorched?
Hey.
You've never heard of that?
Imperative question.
Ama utasema ni sababu ni Bible ni mzee.
Which book is it?
I'll find out and I'll tell you.
Okay.
It's a question, can a man walk on hot coal without being scorched, without his feet being scorched? So MPs in Mount Kenya are unable to address anyone there.
My next stop, there's a map right there.
Is the People Daily.
And I love the fact that they've added Gen Zs there, because this was also similar to what we saw yesterday, right? Where the focus was being diverted from the Wazae to Gen Zs. It seems like it is a similar situation right here. So that is our very...
The former deputy president.
Yes.
And his plan going forward. This is a map. It includes travel to independent candidates, probably. They'll try and lure them. Martha Karua, Gen Zs,
Kanu,
Kalonzo, okay, fine, that was obvious.
Kalonzo has always been there.
So yes, so this is the plan. So if I told he can get all this on his side, probably he stands a good chance of
making a big comeback, just like the one and only US President Donald Trump.
Right.
Wrap it up with the traffic.
These are just some of the conversations we'll be having with our panelists after the break. Do stand by for that. Meg Whitman resigns, the issues to do with Shah, Schiff, and a lot more.
All right.
Later on,